What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Krupin, and on today's episode, we are going to talk about the question: is it too late to start a business in your 30s? So, if you're interested in hearing all about my hot take, stay tuned. Of course not. Of course, it's not too late to start a business in your 30s. I'm 36, so when I started my business, I started it early, like early, in my early 30s. And I want to just talk about it. I just want to have a real talk. So if you have not started your business yet and you're in your 30s or you're in your late 20s, or even if you're 40s, 50s, whatever, this hopefully will still be a good listen. But when I was younger, I used to think, first of all, when I was a teenager, I thought 25, I was going to have my life together, right? Laughable. I was supposed to be married, have kids, all the things. I don't know why. I just thought 25 was the number. And my 20s were wild. I was a wild child, I grew up in a rough neighborhood. We like to party, we like to drink, we like to do things, right? And even though I had a very steady job at a very large hospital, I should have been fired. I should have been fired multiple times, but by the grace of God, by having good supervisors that liked me, that knew that I had a good heart, I was just rough around the edges. They kept me around. Meeting my husband was a huge wake up call to me because he had three children. So he couldn't be out partying at night. He couldn't be out getting off work at midnight because I worked midnights or afternoons at this time. He couldn't get off work and go party until 2 a.m. when he had to be up at 6, take the kids to school, go to work. So we were living very different lifestyles. And slowly but surely, I became more acclimated to his lifestyle because it was good, right? It was good. It was stable. He partied a little bit with me, but he just couldn't hang with the big dogs. And now I'm telling you, he has like energy and he wants to go out and he wants to have fun. And now I'm 36 and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I don't want to do it because I lived that life. And there's no way I could have started a business in my 20s and been successful because I just wasn't mentally strong enough. I wasn't mentally mature. I wasn't emotionally mature. None of that. And that's why I feel that this is where I really want to get into it. Starting a business in your 30s is I feel because right, I'm in my 30s, was the best time to do it because not only is my frontal lobe developed, okay? I'm able to make rational decisions. I can get some respect because I've lived a little bit, right? When you have a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old trying to tell you about life, right? Right. And you're older, you're like, you haven't even lived your life yet. How can you tell me anything about anything? Okay. You haven't had enough experiences. Now, I know some people have lived 5 lives by the time they're in their 20s because of, whatever the situation is, but that's not the majority, right? It's not the majority. And by the time you're 30, hopefully you have a decent social network, right? So when you start your business, you're able to network with people. You have experiences because you've been through some things, okay? You hopefully have some respect for yourself. Hopefully you're stable. Hopefully you're able to find some type of employment with some type of stability to where you're able to put some money away because I will say when you start a business, you do want to have some money put away, okay? You don't want to just jump into it willy-nilly because business can be up and down, and you want to make sure that you do have some money set aside just in case you go through a low moment. Now, having said that, do you have to? No, you don't have to, but it's a good idea to have some money put away. That's for sure. That is for sure. But think back to when you were in your 20s. Think back to like who you were as a person. Do you think that you could have ran a business and been successful? I don't think so. I didn't feel confident enough until I was in my 30s, and I think that was the right time to get started. And I know when you're younger, you're like, "Oh, 30s is so old." And then, when you think I'm in my 30s, I'm like, "Oh, 50s is so old." And then when you get in your 50s, you're gonna be like, "Oh, 70s is so old." But something happens when you turn 30, just the clock starts ticking faster. I don't know how. I don't know what happens, but the days just are shorter. It's like tick tock, tick tock. And I know that I feel a sense of urgency because I do feel like I'm kind of trying to make up for lost time because I'm always in a rush. But if you think about it, in your 30s, you still have another 30 years of working time ahead of you. Another 30 years. Okay? That's a long time. And if you're in your 40s, you got another 20 years. If you're in your 50s, you got another 10 years. And if you're in your 60s, maybe you're retiring at 70. Maybe you're not retiring. Maybe you just want to do this until you're, or do it, a job or a business until your body just decides you don't want to. I will say that I do have less energy than I did in my 20s, but it's like a trade-off. It really is. Like I do have less energy, but I'm able to make smarter decisions. And I believe that comes with time. It comes with experience. It comes with just becoming more mature. And in my 30s was like I am going to just fix me. All my childhood trauma, we're going to work through this. We're going to figure out, we're going to read all the books. We're going to listen to all the audibles. We're going to watch all the YouTube videos because we just want to be a whole, healthy person. And I love that. I do. How many, I want to know, how many self help books have you listened to or read in your 30s? Can you even count? And if you're not in your 30s yet, just start making a list of books. Be like, you know what? I'm going to read these when I turn 30. Hmm. And I feel like starting a business in your 20s, there's more obstacles. There really are. In your 20s, a lot of times you have lack of knowledge, right? Because you haven't lived a lot of life. You don't really know what's going on. You might have a lack of confidence. I know I had a lack of confidence in my 20s because I had a lack of knowledge. And for me, knowledge brings power and brings confidence to me because if there's a topic that I'm unsure of, I'm not very confident of it, but if I research it and I figure it out, I'm educated and I feel confident. So if you're going through something and there's I don't know, let's say a dinner party that you're not feeling very confident about attending, do some research online to figure out how to present yourself at a dinner party, how to properly eat with the forks and the knives. Watch some videos. I did this. I was nervous about going to this like fancy dinner party, which I thought it was going to be fancy. It was not. So I did some research online and I had YouTube videos saved and I was going to be a classy broad. I was going to be the classiest pooper scooper around. Tell me why when I got to this classy dinner party, they had chicken strips. They had chicken strips with ranch and barbecue. It was not fancy, it was not classy, and I had tortured myself for like 2 weeks leading up to this. So but I'm happy that I did it because now if I do go to like an elegant dinner party or if I go somewhere, I know how to conduct myself and I'm not going to be all worried, okay? Another thing in your 20s, you really have a lack of funds unless you're like a trust fund baby. How you got money? You broke. You're broke. You don't even know how to handle money because a lot of times the educational system does not teach us how to balance a checkbook or how to put money away or save, which I really, really feel like the educational system, education, needs to do that. And I have my whole thought process on why the public school system doesn't, because when you're financially illiterate, you can be controlled. Because when you have financial freedom, it's harder to control you. Just a little food for thought. Just a little food for thought. And I don't know why, but like in my 20s, I thought I was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm gonna turn 30, I'm just gonna old bag. Throw me away. Throw me away. That's not the case. It's not the case. Yeah, we got a little bit more wrinkles. Yeah, my knees, I don't understand these knees. They hurt. They really do. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But we're still looking good. I got a little bit of Botox. That's okay. But you know what? I can afford the Botox because I started a business in my 30s and I made some money and now I'm able to afford the Botox, okay? Now, I'm not saying if you start a business, you're going to be able to afford Botox, but all I'm saying is I started a business and now I can afford Botox, and I feel like you could too if that's what you want. But like what's the stakes of starting a business in your 30s? It's the same as starting a business at any other age. It's not that serious. If you're like, "Oh, it's too late. I can't do it." It's not. It's the same, okay? You might miss out hanging out with friends, but how often are you hanging out with friends in your 30s? You tell me, cuz I'm not hanging out with anybody, okay? You might you might miss those family dinners that you really didn't want to go to anyways, okay? Because you're working on your business. You're a little bit busy. And and it might not work out. But it doesn't matter because if you have if you have the money put away and you have a plan and it doesn't work out, at least you tried it, right? You gained the experience. If you didn't put yourself into massive debt, you'll be okay. And as a 30-year-old business owner, I feel like I have a bit of a swagger to me. I have a bit of confidence to me. I get to lean into the experiences that I've experienced over my years. I get to lean into that social network that I have acquired. I will say that the social network that I have now is much different than the one in my 20s because my 20-year-old social network didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Okay. And a lot of times you're not really friends or hanging out with the same people that you hung out with in your 20s. And that's okay too. I know it's tough to kind of let those, maybe those acquaintances or those friends go that you used to hang out with back in the day. And because you change, you change, and you go your separate ways, you have those memories with them, right? Those will never be gone. Those will always be in your heart. But sometimes you just have to leave what's in the past and just move forward with your new life, with your new goals, with your new vision, and cherish the times that you had back in the day, those old stories, but don't dwell on them. Don't be that person that's like, oh, the 20s was the best years of my life. These can be the best years of your life. It's all what you want to make of it. This can be the best time of your life. Now, I'm not saying that all times are going to be good. A lot of times when we're getting into our 30s, okay, our parents could be aging. That dog that we purchased, right? When we moved out and got our first apartment could be getting really old. So there are challenges that are upon us. There are bad times upon us. But that's the circle of life. That's the nature of life. And if you're the type of person that had kids young, right? Your kids are, if say if you had kids right when you graduated high school or before, your kids are grown now. Now you can start focusing on yourself. You can start a business. You'll have the time to figure out who you are. That's basically what my husband's doing right now. His oldest is just turned 18, and then we have the two 16-year-olds. They're old now. My husband graduated high school and then was a dad. And so now he's like, well, what am I going to do with myself? Now he's not going to go start a business. That's not his plan. He's like, well, maybe we could start something because he's seen me grow the poop scooping business. He knows I got it in me. And I said, yo, hold on a second. I got some stuff I need to figure out with this business, some fundamental things before I go ahead and build another business. But I'm not saying that I wouldn't build another business in my 40s because then I take all the knowledge from my 30s, boom, put it into the 40s. And I know I've been super positive, but I do want to talk about some of the negatives with, let's say, poop scooping, right? Or just a physical job in your 30s. Your body does hurt. My body hurts. And I will say that, my knees hurt. My left knee just aches really, really bad. I do need to go to the doctor and see what's going on with that. Every time I go to the doctor, they're like, you need to lose some weight. You need to lose 30 pounds. I'm working on it, lady. I'm working on it. I'm almost into the 150s, so hopefully maybe we can get down into the 140s, and then the doctor will quit telling me that I'm fat when she points at the BMI chart and be like, listen, it's not just because of my weight. I got something else going on. I know you might be like, you need to find a new doctor. Tell me about it. But the way my insurance is set up, I'm kind of stuck right now. And that's another drawback of of being a business owner is having to provide your own health insurance and your own retirement. It's expensive. It is expensive. It's kind of limiting. I mean, I'm limited to who I can see with the amount of money that I'm able to afford to pay. So that is a bit of a drawback. And like I said, just, you don't have quite as much energy as you do in your 20s, but that's okay. That's okay. You can slow down a little bit. I'm finally starting to understand the importance of naps and maybe slowing down a little bit and not rushing around, even though I am always eager. I am eager to do stuff. My body shuts me down. Be like, no, you gotta take a nap, lady. It's time. And it's important to listen to your body. So if your knee is hurting, if your neck's hurting, if your wrist, because I have tendonitis in my wrist, if that stuff is hurting, it is important to recover. You need to recover either by going into a hot tub, getting a massage, stretching. It's very, very important when you're in a physical labor type job is to stretch. And I've been told time and time again by many older people, they said the key to staying younger and limber or younger is staying limber. So you got to stretch. And it might seem like such a stupid little thing, but especially if you're going to be doing this type of job, your neck can get super tight, your traps can be like boulders. Your biceps can get really, really tight, and even your forearm, like this right here, that tendon and that muscle. Ooh, after a really intense day of scooping, it just hurts. It hurts. And so, I take Motrin more, probably more than I should, but it's okay. I can still do it. And I think a lot of times, I heard this online somewhere. I can't remember who said it, but we 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 think that we're just going to feel good until we die. Until we're just going to feel good and then we're just going to die one day. But we're just going to live with aches and pains, and that is the price of living life. We're using our bodies. And our bodies just don't stay young forever. And so just because your body hurts a little bit or your face is changing, I know with me, like I'm getting a little bit older, things aren't, as perky as they once were. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing on camera stuff. I'm 36. It's okay. My face isn't as plump as it used to. It's okay that I do have wrinkles, even though I Botox them away because I don't want them. It's preventative measure. But, I still have crow's feet. I still have lines in places that I'm not like super impressed with. But it's the reality of it that, hey, I'm fortunate enough to make it to 36. And you're fortunate enough to make it to the age that you're at. So if you're hemming and hawing and you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, I'm just too old, I'm here to tell you, stop. So, short story long, is 30 too late to start a business? No. Did this need an entire podcast? No. But I wanted to turn it into an entire podcast because I just wanted you to know how I felt about it. And so if you're listening to this and you're, past your 20s or you're getting ready to get in your 20s and you're just, I don't know, you're just dread of like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so old. Yeah, so what? You're getting older. It is what it is. Lean into it, lean into your experiences, lean into who you are as a person, and put that into your business if you really want to become an entrepreneur. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This has been really cool. I loved that I was able to do this for an entire year, 52 episodes and 52 weeks. What else has been going on with me? Oh, I went and flew to Las Vegas, right, for the Masters of Home Service podcast. Jobber threw me? No, they flew me out there. So that was a wonderful experience. Video and audio and pictures will be coming soon. It was really cool. I got to hang out with Paul Jamison from the Green Industry podcast. He kind of showed me the ropes and we hung out and we recorded a podcast together. So that was really neat. He's super dope. The pool, they had a pool, but it was kind of cold and I didn't bring a swimsuit, so I didn't end up swimming. But the room that they put me in, shut up. The room was just it was so glamorous. I was like, this is all for me? No way. I wish I would have recorded more footage, but I was just in and out. I was there. I flew in, recorded, and flew out. I think it was a 30-hour trip, so it was very quick. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to stay a little bit longer because there were some other people there that I did not get the opportunity to meet because I flew in and out so quick. So, lesson learned, because I really wanted to hang out with Christine Hodges? Hodginsons? No, Hodges. I didn't get to see her in person, and I really, really wanted to. So there's that. Thank you guys for tuning in. I try to drop a new episode every Monday. Mr. Producer has been keeping me on track with that. And until next time, bye.